We're here to perform the groundbreaking ceremony of our new education hub. For all of you here, you will agree with me. After all we have claimed that we have done for education and in education in Edo State, coming here just reminds us that education broke down in Edo State, just like all these buildings broke down. The deterioration in education in Edo equates the sort of deterioration that you see in all these buildings in these premises. So for us as a government, we will not have completed our work if having transformed education the way we have, we leave the infrastructure that will govern and regulate the educational system in this decrepit state. That is why, for us, in order to feel that we have accomplished our mission in education, we must rebuild this education hub. Our forebears 50 years ago had the foresight to understand that for you to govern education properly, you had to create the infrastructure to govern education, which includes the premises, the offices. They knew that 50, 60 years ago, but only God knows what happened. But ours is not to lament, ours is to fix what is broken, ours is to give hope to the next generation. So we're here today to do the groundbreaking ceremony for a number of buildings in these premises. First, the Ministry of Education. We're refurbishing the existing building and putting a state-of-the-art Ministry of Education offices. Next, we are building afresh the suburb office. We will then build the office for the Secondary School Education Board. It is important that you note that one of the things we are doing before we leave is to disarticulate, which means to separate junior secondary school from senior secondary school. The implication is that when a child goes into school at the age of 6 or so, from primary 1, it is our responsibility to keep that child in school until JSS 3, when the child is about 15. That is what the law says, and that is what we'll be doing in Edo State. We separate that from secondary. We will then build the offices for the Board for Technical Education. Because technical education is now a priority. We want as many children as possible to be able to have skills and vocation. So that even if they don't have the opportunity to continue in life, at least they have their handwork with which they can feed themselves. We will then build the office for quality assurance. Because one of the problems we found is not that people were not going to school, children were going to school, but nobody was ensuring that they were learning anything. Nobody was ensuring that there was quality in our schools. Meanwhile, as children, when we were going to school, there was only one secondary school, government secondary school in Benin City. All the others were private schools. But what government did was they had a quality assurance section from which they inspected all the schools. That was why we had the chief inspector of education and inspectors who used to go around the schools. So quality assurance is very important, and it's one of the areas we are emphasizing, and one of the buildings will be for quality assurance. The other building will be for the library board. For those of them that have been criticizing, by May this year, we will be opening the branch of the library at the Edo Mall. But you can't open a branch if you don't have head office. And from what we are doing today, we're rebuilding our library system with a minimum of 50 million titles. We are rebuilding our library system into a digital library system, which is spread across the entire state. And any child in any part of the state will be able to dial in or log in to a Dole library and be able to check out books, read books for their use. It will be a world-class library board and a library system. We will make sure that this hub is supported by world-class amenities. We're building a conference center that will seat a minimum of 500 people for conference at any point in time. So they don't have to go out to have conferences. Then we have a building as cafeteria and restaurants for people who work here so that they can take their meals. They don't have to go outside looking for where to eat while they work. But what is going to be special about this education hub is that we're building 3 schools within the hub and their playground for those schools, so that the people in education can practice what they preach. We're having a primary school, primary 1 to 6, a JSS school, JSS 1 to 3, and a separate SSS school, SS 1 to 3. Those will be at the back end of this property with separate entrances behind. It is going to be one of our most ambitious projects, and by the grace of God, we will bring all of you here in May next year to come and commission. You know we do not like to commission projects, but this one we will commission. I want to thank you for your support and to let you know that the world is looking at what we are doing in Edo State. Just this week, The Economist of London wrote an article on education in the world, and they referred copiously to what we are doing in Edo State. So the world is looking at us, the world is watching, and I believe and I trust that my people know that this is not the first time in our history that we will be investing in education the way we are doing today. And that this time around, when we have invested, it is now our collective responsibility to make sure that we sustain what we are doing and never, ever again allow a situation where those who have no capacity to lead us, those who have not been prepared for leadership, are allowed to come close to government in our lives. It is because we brought those who did not know, those who have no capacity. That is why we are in the situation we are today. If people like the late General Bermudia and co were able to plan at this level 50, 60 years ago, we have no reason to be here today rebuilding what they built. We should have built on what they built if we had the right leadership.
Mine to say thank God that we are here today. Thank God that we are going to transform this place, and this is the starting point. And thank God that this place will be known as educational hub, and the facility that will be here, there won't be need to bond them to achieve any aim, because the facilities are going to be digital and they'll be back end, so nothing will happen. That's one assurance I want to give to us, because this place, you know what it used to be. And to say that education, like we all know, is the bedrock of any society. And to thank our commissioner from suburb to commissioner. Each time I see her, I ask of our children. And she forgot the other one. Now I add what of our parents. And why I ask about parents is that we've been able to transform education beyond just learning. Our parents are now involved in the education of our children. Because when the teacher does their own in school, the parents also have their role. We've been able to bring both parents and teachers together to give our children the best of education. So please, let's just thank our governor. Let us also thank our parents for making themselves and making their peoples available for this new learning. For us, education is education. Education is not half measures. It has to be full measure. And by the grace of God, we are transforming a society from agrarianism to education. We've inherited a liability, which we are trying to reform to earn a living. But never again will Edo State have that congregation of what we are trying to reform now. Edo, we have to be moving forward and growing from glory to glory. Our children doing well, because when they do well, we actually have a future for our state. And Edo is significant in the history of Nigeria. Anytime we start something here, good or bad, check what happened to Nigeria. It must multiply. So we have decided that Edo must lead by good example. And we are resetting Nigeria, resetting the educational sector. We are resetting the economy of Nigeria because Edo must lead. And when Edo lead, Nigeria will better. And that is why all of us together join our governor on the mission to rescue Nigeria. We have rescued Edo State. The next destination is where? Nigeria. God bless all of us.
John of Yahweh. But with a little difference. She had mentioned that the governor was the father of education. She missed that point. The governor is the father of primary health care as well. Thank you, sir. You know, there are some children that jump into your life by adoption, and there are some you give birth to. We have squeezed our way, and the governor is not relenting on that. What you see here today is not by mistake. It's a planned event. I'm sure when the governor started this from basic health, Edo 1.0, it sounded like a joke. People didn't understand it. Because my parents are teachers, I understand what the value of education, how education can transform people, and how you cannot build on nothing. So it's the same thing. The governor is also pushing, and his ESCO and his team, because it's too nice to say just the governor. His wonderful team, we're beginning to push on health as well. We're going to start from the very beginning. That very platform where you don't need to take a bus to seek health care. It is called healthcare at your doorstep. Our push is that at every word, you would find a basic health care. And that's the recommendation. You don't need to get on the ride to get to wherever you want to seek health care. So I promise you here, because I have the backing of the governor, by March, at least end of March, Benin City, you would have 14 primary health care running. They would form a cottage hospital that you would definitely find a doctor walking, and when you walk in there, you receive your basic health care. Because if you're not hurt by the basic things, the big ones can kill you. I'm a doctor of 25 years running. I know that people die from the basic things. That's our dream.
New Edo State Education Hub.
Who they talk to me there?